let's start the data security, right? This is really, really important topic today. Today's world, data security is really important, right? So what is data? First, we'll try to understand what is data. And data is the facts. If you have, sometimes you might have some data on your devices, on mobile devices, uh, laptops, desktops, right? So those are the data. And when it comes to data, there is classification of data. In general, if you look at your the information that you have in your phone, some data you would not need, you would not want to share it with anyone. Now, for example, your banking information, credit card information, sometimes not only that, sometimes personal, pictures or videos, sometimes you would not want to share. But some cases, sometimes you're part of many WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, or Viber groups, or whatever the social media groups. So you share some information in general without worrying about it, because you don't have any information directly linked to you, right? So then you don't care about this information, because the reason is impact is really low on this information. So then this classification is really important. So once you classify data, there is one category known as sensitive information. So when it comes to data security, we would need to understand what are our sensitive information and how to protect sensitive information, right? So this not only when you're working with computers, when you're working with laptops, when you're working with devices, everywhere you go, the personal information or the sensitive information plays a major role, right? So because of that, we need to look at, because you can see there are number of case studies, news related to the sensitive information. So here, these are some of the data loss statistics over the time during the past. And the data is unrecognized fact that can be processed into meaningful information. What is that? So as I said earlier, the data is facts. But when you process it, you can find very valuable information out of it. Now, I'll give you an example. So whenever you call a bank, whenever you say, I'm so and so, I want to get this thing done, they will take you through some sample set of questions. What are the questions that they would ask? They would ask your full name, mobile number, and sometimes they would ask address, right? So do you think these are very sensitive, right? Because the reason is those are data. That is not those are not organized data. But if you look at the collection of data can build uniquely identifiable, meaningful information that will become information. So the data can be text numbers, symbols, or pictures. In your case, the first name, last name, email address, and all that. But these data can lead you to personally identifiable information. So that's the reason, in order to verify yourself, bank would ask these attributes. So even on the web, even a cyber space, we would use this information to come up with or find out sensitive information about you. So that's the reason we need to protect ourselves mainly by overexposure. Overexposure is another important thing. Overexposure is we are exposing more than third person wants to know. We do this intentionally and unintentionally. How? Now, for example, some people, they would take photos wherever they go, and sometimes they would just upload these photos to internet. It's just a photo. I'll give you an example, right? Let me just open up a sample file here. Let me access this one. Yeah, so it's now, if you look at this one, you might find this kind of photos everywhere. Like, so if I open up this one, see, it's just a car, right? So you don't see anything important out of this picture because it's just a picture. And in order to be more secure, sometimes we do this one. We mask some of the numbers, because the reason is Sri Lanka, in this category, you can find 9,999 vehicles. So then we are reducing the information sensitivity up to some level, And then if you see some of the sailing web, some of the websites like itman.lk for an example, there's so many this kind of information out there, right? So sometimes we upload these information on this kind of pictures or videos on the social media as well. But uh, I'll take you through some important information. If I open up this one, if you go to this website, Metapix, I'm going to upload the second image to this. Yeah, I'm going to upload the photo, which I mask. Sorry, sorry, uh, sorry. I will upload this one. Then actually I masked it. Yeah, if you open up this photo, now the same photo, there you can see this site is capable of detecting so much information, right? So it shows you the device that you took the photo. So in this case, someone has used Apple iPhone XS Max 1, and then you can find out exposure, aperture, and then focal length, ISO speed, and all that. And also it shows you did not fire the flash. So now they can collect this information, right? And then the resolution units, the software, even the device that they use to take this photo at that time, what is the iOS operating system version of the device, and the modified date, and then the time of original create date, and also offset time, meaning time difference or time region, ISO time. So it shows you 5:30. Right, GMT 5:30 is Sri Lankan time. Sri Lanka, India, we are on same range, right? So you can find all that, and also the subject area and pretty much all the information, right? So I'm not going to go through each and every information, but you can find this information we have shared along with the photo. Okay, and not only that, even it shows you latitude and longitude and altitude, exact location of the photo. So if you enter this information on the Google Earth, for an example, Google Map, you can pinpoint the location that anyone has taken this photo. Now, the importance of these, now you can understand how much information that we have shared without any, without noticing, right? Without noticing, we have shared this information, right? So we just share the photo, right? But this, along with the photo, it takes our meta information, all right? So I'll show you one more thing. So if we go to Google, if you are using especially an Android phone, so Android is a open source, the free operating system created by Google and distributed at that time. At that time, people were thinking it's a really good thing to do because with that, there was a revolution happened with especially mobile phones, and especially if you notice at that time the price, not in Sri Lanka obviously because nothing is reduced in Sri Lanka, everything is increasing, right? So then the pricing also has reduced. The reason is all other operating system at that time are commercial. So especially the manufacturers, mobile phone manufacturers in China, their devices has come to the market like anything because they were having hardware, but there weren't any operating system or software. Once Google introduced Android, these the manufacturers, mobile phone manufacturers start releasing mobile phones with Android. And even today, most of the devices in the market share, the highest market share is Android phones. So when you have that, so it's a good thing to have license, free operating system. But in the same time, if you look at the privacy part of it, do you ever think how much data that our Android phone is collecting from us, right? So for that, let's go to um, my activity. If you type my activity, it will take us to myactivity.google.com. So for that, you need to log into the same account that you have. So I'm just taking you through my account. If I click on that, it will show you all the activities. But I deliberately switch off location history as of now. And if you want, you can switch off other activities. But otherwise, the default setting is everything that you would do will be collecting in Google, right? So that includes the locational information and anything that you search on the internet, any movie or any video that you watch on YouTube will be recorded, right? So I'll show you one thing. If you go to other Google activity, you can click on location history, right? So if you click on location history, it will take me to here for the timeline of my timeline. Okay, so I have actually switched it off. If you notice, I have disabled my location history. Because of that, Google doesn't show. I'm not very sure that Google is not collecting, but what I can say is Google doesn't show me my activities. But in order to show you as a proof of concept, I have enabled some of the activities during this, for example, 2019 September. So all my activities recorded by my Google phone. If I click on this, it would show you all my movements, right? Here you would see, guys, and even it collects the exact location that I lived at that time and what is the method that I use, driving, and then I have access supermarket. And guys, this supermarket is pretty larger supermarket in Australia. That is Broadmeadows Central. It's a huge supermarket. Within that, you can see small shops and there are there. Something like, let's say, Majestic City in Sri Lanka or Marina Mall. So something like that. So if you go in there, there are smaller shops are there, hundreds of shops are there. But even within that, Google is clever enough to collect information where I exactly visited, and also then driving, and then the location that I visited, and then even if I select visited shops, and even if I took some photos, that also collected by Google, right? So you would see it gives you a lot of information here, right? So then without our knowledge, most of you are not aware that Google is collecting our information, right? So even though Google provide us free operating system that collects so much of information. So what I did was once I got an Android phone and I disconnect the data connectivity, but I leave the location on. I mean GPS on, but data connection disabled. Then I took this phone along with me. I went around 2 hours and I came back and I quickly checked the account that is connected to that phone, the activity. It was blank. No activity because Google has not received anything because my data connection is disabled. Then what I did was I connected to my Wi-Fi at my home. Within few minutes, I could see my phone started uploading all these movements to Gmail or the Google. Then I could see very accurately all the movements are updated accordingly, right? So then you can see that. So sometimes you might be wondering, all right, so Android is doing that. What about iOS, right? iPhones. The only thing is iPhones doesn't show you like this, but can we be sure that they are not collecting this information? I doubt it. All right. And what about Windows devices? If you go to Windows settings and if you go to privacy and if you go to diagnostic and feedback in your Windows 10 device, and if you open or install diagnostic data viewer, if you click on that, then you will also be amazed to see how much information that my device is sharing with Microsoft, right? So you would see everybody is equally bad. We can't say this guy is good, better than other guy. Microsoft is collecting our information to say what everybody says is in order to provide you better and richer experience, they are collecting this. So however, they are collecting all this information and uploading specifically to Microsoft in this case. So here you would see the Windows version and even my other operating system that I have installed, my device exact model, and then locale ID, and then even the apps that are installed, instant IDs. App instance IDs, not app ID. For example, let's say if I have installed Adobe Acrobat Reader, the program ID is Acrobat Reader, that's it. But instant ID is uniquely identifiable instance that I have on my machine. So every one of you have your own installation. Microsoft has this information, right? So that gives you a really good, I think, understand about what people collects from us, right? So then the data is about that. So